and just doing that would help build on. Now, this is the thing. I feel like it's a bigger game for Minnesota because they don't have any history under their belt like Penn State does. Minnesota doesn't have those. It's probably as many Big Ten championships as Penn State does. They haven't been as many places as Penn State has been.
And Minnesota's trying to make that statement this season.
and they'll be home.
Exactly.
So they can win it. So I think that's a big thing also. Iowa and Wisconsin. Wisconsin coming off 2 losses on the road and is now traveling to Iowa.
Man, I'm so disappointed in Wisconsin because they were smacking in the beginning of the season. I wasn't considering myself like a fan, but I was like, all right, Wisconsin, they're kind of smacking. And then they got that loss to Illinois, was it? And then it's just they kind of starting to fall off a little bit.
And you know, it's crazy because they lost to Illinois, then they lost to Ohio State. Then they travel all the way. Well, they don't travel. They're staying home.
Yep.
Iowa's coming in.
Coming off a bye.
Yeah, Iowa's coming in. And it's just crazy because Iowa lost to Michigan in Ann Arbor. Wisconsin beat Michigan.
Yep.
But they were home. And they beat them 35-14. Iowa lost a close game to Michigan. And another thing is, you know, with Iowa's 2 losses, they're to Penn State and Michigan. And you got that loss that Wisconsin has to Illinois, and that kind of messed that.
And you can tell
it messes them up.
They lost
season.
The next weekend. They had to go to Ohio State, who at the time Ohio State was ranked 3rd. They lost again, 38-7.
And that would have been their time to bounce back.
Of 100%.
Because imagine if you lose to just Illinois and then you go undefeated. People can't, you win everything else. Yep. People can't say, okay, that's a bad team because all they had to say is we beat Ohio State.
And if they would have walked into Columbus and beat Ohio State, it would have been a huge statement. But they got destroyed 38-7. Now they were on a bye week last week, coming off a bye at home. Another ranked opponent, Iowa. Dude, it's going to be crazy. Big Ten football.
Take another trip. South Bend.
Oh, man.
Notre Dame is going to be heading to Duke. Duke is 4-4. Notre Dame's ranked 15. They're 6-2. I really don't have too much to say about it besides the fact that if you ask me who needs it more, obviously Notre Dame. They're still fighting. They're ranked. They need this win to keep themselves in good position. I think the main thing is the quarterback has to be consistent because I haven't seen consistent quarterbacks out of Notre Dame. And I was just thinking about it earlier. You know, you look at Deshaun Kaiser and you look at Tommy Rees and you look at Malik Zaire, Everett Golson, all of those quarterbacks, none of them were consistent. And it's the same thing with Ian Book, so they have to be consistent. The offensive line has not been up to par. It looks like the communication has been terrible. They got to be able to execute because they got good running backs.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing with that.
So what I'm going to ask you, what is like a consistent quarterback for you? Like no turnovers, just efficiency?
Just efficiency. I think just being able to – this is the thing. And you got to continuously do that. Like, we know that bad things are going to happen. We know you're going to throw picks. We know you're going to fumble. We know that stuff is going to happen. But how well will you respond and will you continue to build? You know? I feel like Notre Dame has they have, like, people, their fans look at them way higher than like the public does.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of all the history and stuff. You got to be able to win games, man. If you're at Notre Dame, it's just that's a big deal. And I think the defense has been a kind of shaky also. Mm-hmm. You know, I think the linebackers haven't been reading as fast, and the secondary hasn't been as strong as it should be. So I just think and I'm not saying that they're a bad team because they still have 6 wins under their belt.
Right.
I just
still a ranked team.
I just think the biggest thing is consistency out of them. You just got to continue to make plays, and especially when it counts.
Yep.
Because if you're going to be one of those teams that are going to play everybody close, which Notre Dame is, they play everybody close, the good teams and the bad teams. If you're going to play everybody close, then when it matters is when we need Ian Book to make it happen.
Right.
When it matters is when we need the running backs to make it happen. When it matters is when the defense has to come through. That's being consistent.
Yep.
That's when it matters.
All right.
Go ahead and announce the next one, man, because I know you're more excited for it than
Dude, college
else.
Basketball is finally back. It hasn't fully sunk in yet, but the Champions Classic was on Tuesday night, I believe. And number 1, Michigan State played number 2 Kentucky, and then number 3 Kansas took on number 4 Duke, and a lot of other games going around the league at the same time. The first game, Michigan State lost. Kentucky went out there and did the thing. Maxey, 26 points. The man came off the bench.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed that was I don't really feel like it was a bad game. I think it was really close.
It was.
Field goal percentages almost identical. 38 for Kansas, 39 for Michigan State. And you look at the three-pointers, 33% for Kentucky, and this is where they won at, 19% for Michigan State. And then you look at the free throw percentage, which free throws are some of the most important things in the game of basketball.
And people still somehow miss them all the time.
But, it was close, 78% for Kentucky and 72% for Michigan State. So either way, both of these teams deserve their applaud. They both play each other. That's two good because in football, man, when you start the season in college football, they all want to start off with a weak team, get their team warmed up. It's just good to see Michigan State and Kentucky play each other first week.
That's a tough game, especially for a lot of these new guys, true freshmen coming in. If you're on Michigan State, you're the number 1 team, you're like, oh, I want to get an easy dub, kind of get my feet wet. No, you're playing number 2 Kentucky off the rip, Champions Classic, Madison Square Garden, and Kentucky came out with a W.
Another thing that is a big deal in basketball, and this is a battle that Michigan State lost, is the turnover battle.
Yeah.
Kentucky only had 10.
Dude,
Michigan State has 16.
Oh, my God.
You can't do that, man.
No, you can't.
You can't do that. And I think that's what, in the end, that's what bit them in the butt and caused them to lose. Kansas, Duke, that was another one, man.
You want to talk about turnovers for this game. Kansas, 28. 28 turnovers, how you start to win the
Kansas, 28.
Get them out.
Yeah, you got to get them out for that one.
Yeah.
You got to, man.
We need a button that I press, and it's just like a sound. Get them out.
All right, we're going to get it. We're going to get that taken. No, we're going to get it taken care of, man.
Got to get a soundboard.
Somebody that surprised me for Duke, Jones, 15.
Trey Jones, man, he has a lot on his back this year because he is returning from last year. He was a pretty important role he played last year, leader on the team. So he's back this year. Had a good first night. Didn't hit any threes, 0 for 4, but at the end of the day, Duke got the W.
And another thing that caught my eye statistically about Jones, he was 0 for 4 for three-pointers. And we all know that basketball is a different game. You can't just play it in the paint anymore. You got to be able to throw some shots up. And he's got to improve on that. And obviously it was the first game. He's got to get himself warmed up. But
everybody's getting warmed up in the whole country. But or not really but for the whole team, Duke was 8 of 24, 33% from behind the line. So shooting struggles, but just got a little bit more than Kansas because it was a close game, dude. Those games that night were awesome to watch. Duke by 2, so.
Yeah, and another thing is, I'm excited for the rest of the season coming up because just basketball season, it's a whole different type of season. I love sports in general because it's just certain environments you can't find. You can just listen to the Chop It Up Open, and you can just hear that. And it's just certain things you hear in sports, and it's a certain environment that you're around.
And then it just gets you, just hyped and ready. I love it.
And especially, if you grew up in Indiana, so all you've been seeing is basketball your whole life.
Yep.
So just being able to say it's college basketball time, it brings just so much joy to my heart.
I'm looking at the AP Top 25 for basketball. So, but this is the start of the season ones. Michigan State first, Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, and Louisville. Top 5. Indiana State's down in Louisville next week. In Florida, Maryland is 7th. Maryland's in the top 10.
So Indiana State goes to Louisville next week?
Yep, next Wednesday.
I thought that was – so they play Ball State and Louisville in the same week?
I don't know when the Ball State game is, but they play Louisville
sorry
Wednesday
to interrupt
night.
your
you're good. You're good.
Go ahead and continue.
And then they play Ball State on a Sunday. It might be the same week. But yeah, that game in Louisville next week's going to be awesome. We're going.
He said you didn't ask or anything. We're going.
We're going. We got. This is going to be a lot of fun. Then Gonzaga, North Carolina, and they're in the top 10. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. And then Villanova's at 10th. Memphis is going to be another really good team to watch. They have, I honestly forget his name, but he's the number one recruit out of high school. He chose Memphis this year, and he actually dominated his first game. Oregon, Ohio State's at 18th. Yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. VCU cracked the top 25. Shout out VCU, and then Purdue's at 23. So,
all right, well, I looked up the number one recruit, and I see exactly why you forgot his name, because it's like Precious Ekiua or something like that. So, yeah.
Wow.
All right, another thing. We're actually kind of both excited for this because we're both fans. Pacers, we love Pacers basketball.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knows that.
They, give me, like, as far as what you've seen this far.
Man, they're looking great.
They started off shaky.
I am happy. They did, and they were shaky, but it was just one of those things where we mentioned it on the other episodes. It's a whole new team pretty much, so they just got to kind of mesh. People got to play different roles. Started 0-3, now they're 4-4. They really should be 5-3 because the game last night or a couple nights ago in Charlotte. We'll get to it, but it was just a rough game.
And last night I feel like they still did decent. They moved the ball well. Mm-hmm. I think the defense wasn't bad. I just think that the big thing for them is it's kind of like the same thing I've been saying all day. I don't want to sound repetitive, but it's just consistency. Yep. Because if you can win, you can win. Like, there is no reason. If you've won before, you can win. And I feel like, just coming off of the wins that they already came off of, they just got to continue. Yeah.
And one of the things they've had to do this season is they've had to battle injuries, not just without Victor Oladipo. Yeah.
We're going to talk about injuries all day because you guys know we're going to talk about the Colts.
Man.
Injuries for the Pacers and then Indiana State.
You know how rough it's been this year for me. All my teams are all injured, man. But, yeah, no Turner, no Lamb has been out for a while, or has been out in a couple games. Sabonis has been out. Of course, Vic has been out. A bunch of guys now. Edmund Sumner, he fractured his wrist or something with his hand. He's out for a couple weeks. So a lot of guys are having to step up, which they are. So I'm loving the energy and the leadership out of Brogdon and even T.J. Warren that I've been seeing through the guys. So it's a lot of fun to turn on the Pacer game and to just see everyone out there just literally giving it their all. And then we can just do a quick recap of the Hornets game. They lost.
Hold on. Before we get off the Hornets, because I promised myself I was going to have to say this on the mic. Doug McDermott, he definitely surprised me. He scored 17. First off, he scored 19 altogether.
So this is against the Wizards. This is last night.
Yeah. He scored 19, and then he came he scored 19, but the 17 of those were in the first half.
Yep, and he was smacking threes,
coming off of the bench.
Yep, and one thing as a Pacer fan, Doug McDermott doesn't hit threes at home. That's just, he's never has. So to see him hit 4, it was like, wow. So shout out to Doug McDermott.
All right, so like you said, Detroit, that's coming up.
Yep. Hold up. I need to talk about the game last night because, man, that was a great game. On defense, man, 8 steals, 3 blocks. They forced 17 turnovers, scored 22 points off those.
And that's what I would say when I say, like, the defense has been improving. And they kept a comfortable lead pretty much all game as far as what I've seen.
And that so they played down in Charlotte 2 nights ago. Overtime, long game. Everybody had to play extended minutes on the road. Then less than 24 hours later, you're back at home. Same pretty much lineup. We did have Sabonis last night, thank God. But the one thing I was worried about coming into the Wizards game, second night of a back-to-back, is, man, they're going to be drained. Like, how is this team going to perform?
Yeah.
And to come out the way they did in that first half, they scored 44 in the second quarter.
Yeah.
It was there. So that comfortable lead was perfect for them.
And another thing that I like is the scoring distribution.
Yep.
Because that's important when you don't have somebody like Victor Oladipo, that it factor that's going to get a bunch of points for you. Everybody has to eat now.
Yep.
Because so I loved that about them, and if they can keep that up, They'll be fine.
All 5 starters in double digits, and then you mentioned McDermott had 19 off the bench, and then Goga Batatse, our rookie, he came in solid 13. So when you have